The opinions expressed on this program are solely those of its hosts, guests, or callers, and do not necessarily represent the opinions of WTBR-FM, its management, other producers, or sponsors.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing today on this Thursday? This is Jesse. I'm here with Mike for the Bird's Eye View here on WTBR and WSBR. Mike is feeling some sort of relief today because
today, yes.
the Celtics did in fact win. Derek White and Luke Cornett turned into Prime Shaq and Kobe, and
Sure.
So the Celtics staved off elimination. Mike staved off those dark thoughts that circle in the corners.
Yeah,
and it was a much more pleasant.
I was feeling pretty good entering, like even going in. I was like, there's no way they're gonna go out like chumps on their home court. You have like that Tatum motivation factor, that, you know, win one for him kind of deal.
Question is now, can the Knicks take care of business in 6? Because they'll be back at MSG.
There's no business to be taken care of.
They're back at MSG. You got the home crowd. Jalen Brunson fouled out, so now he's back. He's probably going to look to make things up. You know, there's no Tatum. There's no excuse.
He looks so sad on the bench.
So
he's got a sad face.
He has a sad face. He always looks sad. It's very, yeah.
Which makes him like scarier.
I know,
when he's absolutely torching you and you just can't stop him from scoring.
I mean, like everyone talks about like Kawhi Leonard, like straight face, but like Jalen Brunson is just as like
similar face.
Yeah,
yeah.
He unlike Leonard, who's willing to like talk. But yeah, he is just as much neutrality.
Yeah, he's got those like shark eyes.
Yeah.
No, I was fairly. So I did a little bit of looking into stuff this morning, and yeah, what I thought could happen was, as good as Tatum was in Game 4. Game 4.
And he was the only Celtics player playing.
And he was, but that was the problem, is he was just playing 1-on-5.
Yeah.
And he very well almost beat the Knicks 1-on-5 because he's just that good. But at a certain point, he got tired, worn down. Clearly, his Achilles winds up rupturing. Not because of all this, but there would definitely be a factor, fatigue there. And at that point, nobody else had anything going. Which is not his fault per se, because he was so hot, but it is in some ways his fault because he didn't get anybody going. He had nobody running with him.
That's wild.
That game, they had 15 assists. They had 27 assists last night. Jaylen Brown had 12 assists
because everyone was missing.
Jalen didn't pass the ball.
Jalen missed every shot. Derek White was not hot.
Yes, they weren't shooting super well.
Yeah, everyone
but I'm
was
saying
missing.
That's because it got to a point where it was like, okay, Tatum's going to
he was the only offensive
dribble
threat.
Side to side, 40 feet from the basket, and then Jack went up, and he hit a bunch of them, and that was great. But at a certain point, you need help, and you need to get other people going.
And no one was giving it, so he wasn't
doing that.
He was the only.
He did not help
his
own case. And I thought the ball's going to move a lot more. There's going to be none of that, we're up 6. Let's let Tatum dribble side to side and jack up a 40-footer. That didn't happen. They continued attacking the basket. Peyton Pritchard attacked the basket. Jaylen Brown attacked the basket. Jaylen Brown had 12 assists. The team had 12 more assists than they had in Game 5 or Game 4, and they win by 20 or whatever. So
in
the ball's moving. The Celtics are better for it.
Everyone was making fun of Max Strus for going 0 for 9. That was the Celtics in Game 4. The Celtics were missing every single shot except for Jason Tatum. Keep the ball in his hands because he's not going to brick it from 25 feet.
He did. That's why they lost. It's because he bricked it from 25 feet.
Okay, first off, they lost because Jalen Brunson exists. All right, Jalen Brunson demolished the Celtics in the third quarter. He had 19 points in the third. They were up 8 before.
Yes, and Tatum
Celtics
took that as an affront and was like, "Oh, I'm just going to hog the ball for the rest of the game.
Your love-hate relationship with Tatum
dribble
is
until my Achilles
behold.
ruptures and I'm out for a year."
Your love-hate relationship with Tatum is
He's
something
amazing.
to behold.
He was amazing. He's the reason they lost.
He's the only reason they were in the game in the first place.
Yes, I agree.
If he was not
He's also
there,
the reason they lost.
If he was not there, they would have lost by 90.
What happened yesterday? Proven wrong.
Wait, what do you mean?
They're 10-2 without him.
So in 12 games, not in the playoffs?
They're 2-0 without him in the playoffs.
Oh, all right. If you talk to me about the Magic, I'm going to lose it.
2-0 without him.
I'm going to lose
Did they win by 20 last night or did they not?
Let's see. What were the team stats in Game 4? 3-pointers. Celtics were 18 of 48. That is not Jason Tatum's fault that they couldn't hit anything.
Kind of is.
Oh my God!
How many of those misses were his?
How many misses those were his? That's a fair point. All right. I hate how like on Google when you look things up, like when you go to like the NBA, they don't give you any shooting percentages. It just is like points, rebounds, assists. Yeah, it's very irritating. Google,
I'm just saying the ball moves a lot better when he's not doing his thing out there, dribbling side to side with Towns 30 feet from the hoop.
I mean, you want him on
I imagine
Towns.
that was going to throw the Knicks for a loop. It did.
Jason Tatum was 7 of 16 from 3. He was cooking.
So he missed 9 threes.
He's 45% from 3.
He missed 9. You just brought up a stat that was like they missed all these threes.
Don't be glib.
How many did they miss? He missed half of the ones they missed.
Don't be glib. Don't act like being 45% from 3 is bad.
Uh-oh. Baby's awake now.
Baby's mad at you. You're having horrible takes. Jaylen Brown 2 of 8. That's terrible.
That's terrible. Yes, I agree.
Peyton Pritchard 2 of 7. That's terrible.
Day, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
He didn't shoot very well last night either.
In any case, yeah, he's gone after this season. He's going to be a starter somewhere. Let's move on. Let's move on for Mike's basketball madness.
I'm not saying they're better without Tatum. I'm just saying it's different, and it threw the Knicks for a loop. And they're still damn good basketball team. You did not say any of that. I told this to my dad last night. My dad's like, this is going on all this, the death toll of, Paul Bear essentially for the season, and like, oh, this guy's going to be gone next season. This guy's going to retire. They're going to have to trade this guy. I'm like, they won. What are we talking about here? Like, trade this guy. Without Jason Tatum, they're a top 4 seed in the East. Easily. The East is terrible.
I was going to say, if only because the East is bad.
If only, but they're still a damn good basketball team.
Yes, no, they are a good basketball team.
They have the Finals MVP and the semifinals MVP is still on the team. It's still active.
Well, I mean, Drew Holiday will just be old, so that's probably that.
Yes, Drew and Al are very old, but
yeah.
Jaylen Brown still exists.
Yes,
as a basketball player. If you can, I don't know. Give Kristaps a complete blood transfusion or something, maybe he'd be back too. They're still a good team.
All right, let's move on. It was. We'll tell you what. It was a good night for Dalton yesterday because Wacona, their unified track team, won the Western Mass Division I title over in Holyoke. That's the second straight year. It was a little different this year because I believe they were the only Division I team. So
seemed that way, yes.
So, it wasn't much competition, but still congratulations to them. And they will be, for states, I believe it's them and the North are kind of combining. So, they'll be looking at times with the North. And so, and that's how they'll figure it out to qualify for states. So, in any case, so there was that. And then over at Pine Grove Park, the Wacona softball team had senior night. It had youth night. And it had softball coach Justin Belcher, who's been the coach there for 17 years now. He's been the head coach fully since 2010. Made some more Berkshire County history. He's the only.
So that makes me feel super old.
You don't remember him in 2010.
No. But I remember covering they honored Wacona redid their gym. They
right.
Actually, this is even before the new school, I guess. They'd redone the gym and named it for Ed Ladley, who was the coach, long time coach before Belcher took over. And that was one of my earlier years out here. I covered that game, and I remember talking to Dustin after, and just being like, "Oh, when do you think they'll name something after you?" And he was like, "Oh, that's never going to happen." And now it's the man is the county leader in softball wins and stuff.
So all-time Berkshire County leader in softball wins. He hit 250 on Monday with the win over Mount Everett, and last night the Wacona Warriors beat Lee 9-1.
He had a hand,
and so he had a hand in it. So he is now 251 wins. Most in Berkshire County history. He also is the only Berkshire County coach with a state championship on his resume. Wacona, the only team. They did that in 2011. Mm-hmm. And so it's just some other Berkshire County softball teams that have made it to the state final, but none have ever won. A lot of history there under his belt. So it was a good night for Wacona. Like I said, 9-1 win over Lee on senior night. They have one senior, Idri Collins. She had a pretty good game at the plate. A few RBI, a double. single. The double was on an error, so not actually a double. But Marley Arnold, who's a sophomore pitcher, had a great game. She struck out 13. She pitched 1, 2, 3 innings in the first 3 innings, I want to say, if not the first 4. She had 5 total. Only gave up 2 hits. Was just locked in. Did a very, very nice job. And it was kind of good, solid, clean game all around from Wacona as Western Mass approaches.
So half of the Class B tournament is going to be Berkshire County.
Same with Class C, I think. Because you have Lennox, Greylock, McCann, and Drury all.
You are correct there as well.
All in there.
Yeah. So, but as we've kind of talked about, unfortunately for all 8 of those teams, is getting by the 1 seed is going to be a big undertaking. But we are lining up to maybe have Pittsfield-Taconic softball, which is something we haven't seen in a couple of years now. Or did they play last year regular season?
They played last year twice, if you remember.
They did play regular season last year.
They played at the end of the regular season, in Pittsfield 12-0 or 10-0 them, whatever it was. And then they played 3 days later in the first round of Western Mass. And Pittsfield won, but Taconic made it a game because Pittsfield went up 8-0 and then went to sleep, and Taconic almost made the comeback.
Okay. So I'd say they're as close as they've been competitive-wise in many years.
Time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Taconic's been good, but Pittsfield's been one of the top programs in Western Mass.
2023, Taconic swept them. They probably shouldn't have, but they did sweep them. That was the Taconic team that won some game in states. In any case, Pittsfield's 4, Taconic's 5. Pittsfield could move over South Hadley. They're very, very close in the power ratings, so we'll see what happens there. I'm not sure who else Pittsfield has to end their season. The big thing is, what interests me is just I look at Pittsfield as better, but Taconic just handled Agawam, an Agawam team that beat up on Pittsfield twice. So which is kind of just transitive property, what's going on there. But also Pittsfield beat Hoosick and Taconic lost to Hoosick.
Pittsfield's done after tonight, actually.
Who are they playing tonight?
Monument.
Oh, right, of course. So that'll be an interesting game. That'll be a good game. Monument, the 7 seed, they're basically locked into that spot. Tough one for them because they'll have to go to Frontier, which is the 2 seed. So that stinks. And Wacona's the 6 seed, and they're locked into the 6 seed, so they'll either be at South Hadley or at Pittsfield.
Yeah, so we'll get Pittsfield Taconic or Pittsfield Wacona,
which would be pretty fun.
Yeah,
Lennox the 2 seed in Class C, and then McCann's the 4 seed, Drury's the 5 seed, Greylock is the 6 seed. So McCann, Drury, who actually play today, I'll be there at McCann, but so they play again in the first round, which would be kind of fun. And then in Class D, Hoosick Valley is the 2 seed, and they're basically just locked into that spot because no one is catching Turner's Falls. And then baseball is fun because Pittsfield and Drury are both the number 1 seeds in Class B and Class C. And Taconic has now moved up. They were down, and they moved their way all the way up to the 2 seed in Class B. And Pittsfield, they're not going to give up their top spot. They're over a full point ahead of everyone else. But Taconic, it seems, also is kind of locked into the 2 spot. So very much we have it set up for a Pittsfield-Taconic meeting in the Western Mass Final, which would be awesome. Taconic just beat Pittsfield, I guess, beginning of the week, end of last week.
Last Thursday.
Thursday.
Exactly a week ago.
At Clap Park, so they split the season series. Will be a lot of fun. Monument Mountain is the 4 seed. I think they're kind of stuck there, although they could fall to 5, so they need a good last couple games. Frontier is not that far behind them, but so that's Class B on the baseball side. Would love Pittsfield versus Taconic at Wacona Park. That'd be a lot of fun. Drury is guaranteed the 1 seed in Class C baseball. They're miles ahead of everyone else. Lennox is 5, McCann is 6. And Mount Everett is the 4 seed in Class D, and that's kind of where they're going to stay. They started out as 2, but they've slid a little bit, so they are now the 4 seed. We're going to take a little break. We'll talk about more of the action that happened the last few days. So keep it locked here on WTBR and WSBR.
Have you ever dreamed of being a radio DJ, spinning your favorite vinyl, CDs, and MP3s? Have you ever wanted to share conversations with interesting guests with the community? Then the WTBR-FM Programming Committee wants to hear from you. We are now accepting proposals for new programs. For more information, visit WTBRFM.com or call 445-4234. Pittsfield Community Radio, for the love of radio.
Tired of the same old on the radio?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's all the same day.
Hi, I'm Hannah. Each week I search the archives for hidden gems from your favorite artists, plus all the latest releases in rock trivia. Please join me for Deep Cuts, Thursdays, 4 to 6, at 89.7 WTBR-FM.
Welcome back, WTBR, WSBR. This is Bird's Eye View. Jesse here, joined by Mike, and we got Hankus Pankus over there out of the crib. Or not out of the crib, out of the carrier.
Out of his car seat, yes. He was awoken during the Celtics talk. He's like,
looking
what?
at
Celtics?
it. You gonna wave at me back? What's up, buddy?
He's not eating. Yeah. There's too many lights and things to look at in here. There's like
That's
records
true.
on the wall, a big
True.
sign,
If I shook my keys, you'd
TBR
probably look
logos.
at me. Oh, what's
yes,
up?
yeah.
What's up, buddy? All right. So in any case, yeah, we were talking about Western Mass seedings. They'll come out next week. Actually, I believe they'll come out Tuesday. I want to say there's a couple more games left this weekend. And Monday, Lennox Monument softball will be very interesting. On Monday, that was a very good game. The first time around, Monument just made way too many errors, and that's why they lost. They're also playing today against Pittsfield, so that'll be a really interesting team. They're both very similar. They have hit really well, and they also can make a lot of errors in the field.
I believe Monument's won 4 straight. Entering tonight, they had a very good win over Lee in 8 innings, and then kind of beat up on some other also rans.
Yeah, that was a great win for Monument because they hadn't had many big wins. And so, I mean, they beat Lee the first time, but that was like, I think that yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was like a gut check win, because Lee was sticking right with them. It was 2-2, and they win in extra innings, take advantage of the errors, win 3-2. Lexi Carpenter had a home run. And so, yeah, I think, that's just... It's a good sign entering the tournament time that you can win an ugly game, or win a close game. So, and Hoosick Valley had a very nice win over Taconic as well. Mm-hmm. It gave me flashbacks to the Pittsfield game because Hoosick went up a bunch of times and they made errors and they made mistakes, and Pittsfield came back and won that game. And so, Taconic, it was Taconic Senior Day. Cheyenne Goddard, she had her 100th hit of her career. It was actually very funny because hit a leadoff single, or no, she didn't hit it. That was a crazy first inning because Genevieve Legesse smokes 2-run homer in the top of the first, and then immediately after, Izzy Tart hits a solo homer, so it's 3-0 Hoosick, and then Ella Stodden, who's the leadoff hitter for Taconic, hits a home run. And it was just like, holy crap, I probably shouldn't say that, whoops.
I mean...
I hit the delay. In any case, we there was 3 home runs in, not even like 8 at batters. And so anyway, Shea Goddard then had the 100th hit of her career with a single, and she didn't know it because she didn't want to know how close she was. So then she gets there and everyone starts cheering, and she's like, "Wait, what? That was it?" And then they come out with the balloons and everything. So that was very fun. But yeah, I mean, Hoosick was up 8-2, I believe, or 8-3, and then Taconic just starts
celebrating. Yeah,
Taconic. No. This was in the first. This was the first inning. Yeah. But then Hoosick starts building its lead, and they're up like 8-2, 8-3, and Taconic starts making it closer, making closer, and Hoosick locked down and got the win. And so that was that's very comforting to see because I think Hoosick can make some runs. It's
a big win because of what they had just kind of gone through, where they lost back-to-back games to Pittsfield and Lennox. So you're going to face only a sizable handful of good teams in your season, and we know that they can score 25 runs against teams that might not be in the playoffs. But when you lose those 2 games to playoff teams, you kind of need to close your season strong. And luckily they'll play 2 more playoff teams. So they have Greylock tonight, and they're at McCann on tomorrow. So 2 more games that are kind of, if you win out here, that'll be 5 straight heading into the tournament off of those 2 losses. You've kind of figured it out a little bit.
Right. I mean, they're the
back
number
up,
2 seed in Class D, and Turner's Falls is looking lethal.
Well.
So, I think they can actually get to the Western Mass Final, but if you even want a chance of beating Turner's, these are the types of games you need to have against good teams, and then let alone states where they're number 6 seed, so they have to go to the 3 seed.
You got to get on the phone and be like, "Hey, Rylan Whittick, can you come back and pitch to us?"
Yeah. Hey, she's probably done with her semester at this point. College is pretty much out. So. In any case, let's see. What's up on the baseball side? Drury had a nice win over Mount Everett. Mount Everett's had a tough close to the season because they lost against Lennox on Lennox's senior night. Everett went up 2-0 in the first inning, and then Lennox, the bats just kind of woke up. I think there were 5 doubles in that game and a triple all from Lennox. And Mason Daly had a fantastic pitching day. Had a bunch of 1, 2, 3 innings. Just kept Everett completely off balance after the first inning. And then Everett lost a really close game to Drury. And the first game I was at, and Drury won 7-4, I think it was. So it was a good game, but, Drury kind of took the lead after the first inning, and it was never in doubt. And this game was, back and forth, and Everett tied it up 4-4, and then Drury gets the win, I think, at the top of the 6th, top of the 7th. And so, it was, it's been a tough close to the season for the Eagles, even though I think they are a very good team.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same about Drury, where Drury has these 2 games here. Tonight they are hosting Taconic, and Saturday they host 14-0 Pioneer Valley. So 2 kind of, even more show-me games. Drury's obviously shown us plenty. They're 13-1. They've beaten some very good teams, but these are probably the 2 best teams they'll play.
Yes,
and you're getting them Thursday, Saturday, back to back.
I've been told now, Anthony, the Vermont team is very good. Is real. They said their pitcher is great. But Taconic and
this
Pioneer Valley.
This is the 1 seed in Class D, the 2 seed in Class B.
Right.
So 2 big games for them. Pittsfield, I'll say, having now seen them a little bit, I think they're on their good day. They are just as good as they were last year.
Agreed.
There's a little bit of some too much of a margin for error compared to last year, where what they lost was a starting shortstop, I believe starting first baseman, and they've filled those roles. But what's happened when they've filled those roles is that opened up some other holes. So Jack Abel, a very good shortstop, but now his hole is left there. And
he's still there. Jack Abel's still on the team.
Yes, but he was not the starting shortstop last year. Now he is.
Sure.
So you take him from somewhere else, and now that's a little hole there.
Right.
So he fills in perfectly fine for Nick Brindle. He's a very good bat, very good leadoff man as well. Jake Duquette's the other kind of big name.
He was a big loss.
Yeah, but very capable guys kind of filling in all over the place, and then you just look at the order is what it is.
Oh, their batting order is lethal. They're bad. They can hit, when they're when they're on, like you said, they can hit against any team in the state. But it's whether or not the defense shows up. And I think the first 10 or 11 games of the season, the defense was there every game, and they played really, really well.
It got shaky late.
Then they got shaky.
They played an error-free game yesterday. They won 7-0 over a strong Hopkins team, who's the 3 seed in Class D.
And is usually a very good team in the state,
generally
a program level.
A program worthy of sharing a field with Pittsfield. So I think they're roughly where they were last year. It's just, on the margins, there's some iffy things that could shake you up. But still have a strong number 1 pitcher. Still have a very kind of good secondary, secondary and tertiary pitchers as well.
I mean, Pittsfield to me I think in a large part it's about just can you stay focused? Because they know they're very good. They get out to a 10-0 start to the season, and I think it's kind of they're high school kids and whatever, right? You're guaranteed a playoff spot. You're the number 1 seed, and you start to slip. because you're not carrying as much.
Which is a scary proposition because they are all done now until
Right.
Western Mass starts. And they're going to play a Smith-Voke team that probably is not up to par with what Pittsfield High is in the first round. So you're going to have some time here before you play high-level baseball.
Yeah.
Again.
And Smith-Voke can hit. Smith-Voke, for whatever
They have
reason,
10, I mean,
isn't-
they're 10-3, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just mean like, so if like in division, they're Smith-Voke for whatever reason the state hates, and they keep wanting them to move them up divisions. So anyway, Smith-Voke is in Division 4, which they shouldn't be. They
Correct,
should be in
yes.
D5, and so their opponent ranking is horrible. But the reason they're ranked where they are is because they beat all their opponents by a lot of runs. So
Right.
clearly they can hit. So Pittsfield needs to be dialed in if they want to repeat as Western Mass champs. But yeah, I mean,
And if you look ahead there, the concern is like who pitches the potential Western Mass final, who is available to pitch there, and do you kind of game the system that way where you want Quentin Christopher versus Jay Cody at Wacona Park, but then are
Yes.
you worried about who you're pitching against Monument Mountain? Are you worried about who you're pitching against Belchertown, Frontier, whoever winds up in that semifinal opposite you?
I mean, that's the benefit of Pittsfield, though. They have a lot of arms.
Pittsfield, I wouldn't worry about it as much as
No.
obviously Christopher has proven he can beat Pittsfield.
Yeah. No, Taconic, though the Taconics win over Pittsfield 8-1, if memory serves, on last Thursday. That, to me, was like a season-raising win. They've had some big wins against West Springfield and I think Westfield, was it? But in any case, that to me was a huge win because Pittsfield looks like the best team in the county, and they really took it to him. Quentin Christopher had a great day on the mound. They hit well, which has been something they've really been trying to work on at the back half of the season in Ben Storr's first season as the coach. And they have to play in Division 3. They might, if they're lucky, they'll host like a first round game, and then they'll be on the road somewhere against really high seeds. So to beat Pittsfield is a very, very good sign. And they move up to number 2 in Class B, and which means we can get a all Pittsfield the city Western Mass final, which we haven't had since 2022. So that'd be really, really cool. And so my stock is much higher in Taconic.
That said, since that Pittsfield win, they've lost back-to-back games.
That's
and
true.
Play at Drury tonight, which is a losable game as well.
Yes.
But
Yeah, in the same way that I said Pittsfield fell asleep, I hope that was
I mean, those
not
are
like
those are
Taconic.
losses to let's see, where are West Springfield and Pope ranked in Western Mass?
Yeah, West Springfield's good. Pope is very good. Pope, I think, is number 1 in Class A or number 2 in
Yep.
Class A.
Pope is 2, West Springfield 7. So they're both two Class A playoff teams.
Yeah, I mean, Taconic also, you hope that wasn't like they didn't fall asleep and that's the high point of their season. So, hopefully they wake back up in time for the playoffs. Let's see, we got about 2 minutes left here.
Talk real quick. So we do have track Berkshire County Championships is this weekend, and something I was thinking to myself about was just the girls' MVP is kind of a given. It's Catherine Goss. She wins 3 to 4 events every meet. She's kind of the overall best. The boys' side, and part of the problem is there just haven't been enough meets. We have Berkshire County Championships is Saturday. There's 3 dual meets scheduled for next week, which doesn't ever happen because then we'll go right into Western Mass. But on the boys' side, I don't know who it is. So there's, if I can bring it up there real quick, there's a handful of kids who it could be, but nobody's really.
Cooper Calvert, Elijah
Cooper-
Harewood.
Cooper's probably the most likely just because he does lead the county in 3 things, but
Julius
those 3
Kavlin.
things are all, I don't want to say insultingly say roughly the same thing, but they're all jumping. He's the best high jumper, long jumper, triple jumper. Elijah Harewood is the top sprinter, and he proved himself against the Greylock pair, Noah Klompus and Kofi Roberts, to drop his
Rafa
time.
Martel Bellows.
He's the best distance runner, but doesn't really do anything else. So there's not like that kind of all around standout. So yeah, I guess you could give it to Calvert just because of the high level that he is at in his very specific disciplines. But I would love to see him like if he could just hurdle or if he could run 100, something like that would kind of boost him in terms of the MVP, because you look at Catherine Goss and she's the top hurdler. And so there's obviously 2 hurdle events, and then she's also the top I believe, triple jumper, and she's in the top 5 for long jump. So a little bit of a kind of varied skill set there. And, I mean, points-wise, it's probably going to be Calvert. Also, Harewood missed kind of the first few weeks of the season.
Right,
but
he was coming off an injury from basketball season.
yes, so he hasn't really jumped yet, I don't think. So if he could kind of enter into the fold jumping-wise, that would boost him a little bit. I know he did that a little more last year when he was somewhat healthier.
We will find out on Saturday. So thank you all for listening with us. Have a good rest of your week, and take it easy.